In this video I'm going to explain about this input class which I just posted, and the purpose of this class called input is to store the user input events so that code and the rest of the program can access those events conveniently from one location. So what I'm going to do is continue with the example that I started with the other two code samples, this message overlay example, and I will add that class to this. As I do that, I'm going to explain the one problem that there is with this class right now. Here it is. In the update method of the game class, we check to see, for instance here, we check to see if the A key is down. If the A key is down, we print a message. The thing is, this update, the user may hold the A key down for, the user may be a little slow and they hold the A key down for several frames of animation or several updates. So that means this message will be printed multiple times as long as the A key is detected as down. As we saw that problem in the other video, let's see, I'll just run that and show that to you. So I'll hold the A key down there, just press it. Second time I pressed it, I got a lot. There it is. I'm just pressing in a normal way. So what we want to do is convert this A key down into a single event rather than detecting, its down state. So that's one of the things that this input class does. And it also does some other things that are convenient. And let's just grab this and we'll put it in there. Let's add the class called input. And I'm going to change the namespace. Now one of the requirements, actually I should add that in here. So this, let's see, the update method of this class should be called the update method of this class should be called for each iteration of the simulation loop. And so what it's going to do is at each call, at each update, which is done down here, pass in the game time, although the game time is ignored. Although we could use game time to implement key repeat, so that when the user holds down, say, a certain key on the keyboard, that it'll generate a pressed event every half a second or second, whatever the frequency is set to be. So there is a use for game time with for some variations of this class. We're not implementing key repeat here. So what we do is we capture the previous keyboard state, compare it to the new keyboard state to see if a key has been pressed in this iteration of the game loop or the simulation loop. And that's essentially what this class does. So at each tick or each update in the simulation loop, we take the current keyboard state, copy it into the previous keyboard state, get the new current keyboard state here, And I do the same thing for the gamepad state for all 4 controllers. Because if the game is running on the Xbox 360, it may be that a user pulls one controller out, puts another controller in, or changes one controller for another. So that to cover all of those possibilities, we take a look, we process input from all 4 controllers. So we capture the current and previous states for all 4 controllers. That's done here. So the user code is going to, in addition to calling update in the simulation loop, it also can find out if a particular key is pressed in a given frame. So if you miss calling his key pressed in one frame, you've lost the event. So you're responsible, user code is responsible to call this. If it wants a key press, it needs to call it. The class could be modified to implement callbacks, so someone can register a key down event, and that key down event callback could be invoked when the event occurs. So that this class could be expanded to accommodate that logic. It doesn't currently have that. It's a simple class right now, and so here user code wants to know if a key is pressed. We simply take the current, we look at the state of that key in the current state. If the key is down, and in the previous state the key was up, then we return true. The key is currently being pressed. And here's the is button pressed. So here we need to know if the gamepad is connected. If the gamepad is not connected, then the information is not valid. So first we check that the gamepad is connected, and then we also check to see if the previous gamepad state was generated from a connected gamepad. So we look at both of those. So both of those need to be valid. And if they are both valid, then we check to see if the given button is down for the current state and was up in the previous state. If that's the case, if all 4 of these conditions are true, then we're going to return true, because this is ORed with everything else. So this is a bunch of ORs. So if any one of these conditions here are true, then the function is going to return true. Let's see how to use this in the game. So we're going to, in the update event here, let's call input.update, pass in the game time, and here we want to exit. We're going to test if the back button on the controller is pressed. So if input is button pressed, and I'm going to call this is going to be buttons dot back. If that returns true, it's time to exit the game. Let's look at this. Now we're going to we'll also print some messages for the triggers. Let's do that as well. So if say if we had the left trigger pressed, if that event occurred, then we'll print to in our message overlay. We're going to add a message. We're going to say left trigger down, left trigger pulled, say. And let's do the same thing for the right trigger. So that'll be the right trigger pulled. And let's test the keyboard. So if input dot is key pressed, we'll check for the E key. That's what we did last time. If this is the case, the E key is pressed, or the A key, I think we looked at the A key, then we'll display that message. A key is down. We shouldn't have an else if actually. Let's check for the B key. Here we print the B key is down. Alright, let's build that. Here's our window. I'll press the A key. I'll hold the A key down. Notice it's not repeating anymore. That's great. The B key. The messages are scrolling off. They're 5 seconds. They're timed to be 5 seconds. I'm going to try the trigger. Here's the left trigger. Good. It's working nicely. And A key like that. You can press escape to terminate. Nope, that's not working. Escape key is not working. Let's try the back key. On the back button rather. The back button works, but the escape key does not terminate the game. Of course, I didn't have it in there, so that makes sense. We'd have to add a condition here to check for the escape key and then terminate the game. So that's it for the input class.